In this video, I want to talk about how I use AI in my design process. From finding that initial spark to the messy workflow, and to actually putting it together into a project. I also want to talk about how I keep my own style without letting the machine take over. Because honestly, that's the part that keeps most of us awake at night, especially us within the creative industry. When AI first started blowing up, I didn't really know how to feel. On one hand, it felt like a superpower. On the other, it felt kind of wrong. If you have worked in a creative industry like graphic design and illustrations, for example, you've probably wondered if AI can generate these kinds of visual within a matter of seconds, then what's my job? I've seen people either totally reject it or just let it do everything for them. But after playing around with it for a while, I realized neither of those really work. Because we also have to consider ethics that also plays a part in how we use Gen AI. When an artist or designer sees something like an art or any piece of media made using AI, they would usually reject it as a creative product. Well, I think it's a problem too, especially when you're too focused on thinking of AI as the final output or finishing tool, instead of what kind of result I can get from this, or even should I use it or not. So instead of focusing only on the final output, can't we just use it in our process of design? Because as we already know, AI excels at collecting information from the internet. And with that in mind, now I can think, where does this actually fit in my work process? For example, we're using this website called Fake Clients to demonstrate how exactly can we fit AI into our process. We first have to understand the problem by asking who is this for and what actually matters here. Here I can use Gen AI via tools by using a prompt to ask for a rough bunch of visual directions, compositions, moods, and visual languages, usually used in this case, a floral boutique design. Defining the direction is where I narrow things down. Using the information given from the AI and by conducting our own research, we can summarize what style fits the target and what's the tone. I usually get my inspirations from websites like Pinterest or Behance. The AI is great for finding general information and generating scenarios as in what ifs and saving you a bit of time. But the final answer still lies within myself as the designer. At this point, the AI has already done its part, and I have gotten all the necessary information needed. Now I close the tabs and just design. What goes where, which one gets cut, and what stays. Everything starting from typeface, spacing, hierarchies, and colors. Every single one of those is a decision that came from understanding the brief, not from a prompt. And honestly, this part is still messy. It doesn't come out perfect the first time. You iterate, you second guess yourself, you scrap things. But that messiness is kind of the whole point, because that's where your design instinct actually lies. Now let's talk about the real issue. It's so easy to rely on this stuff too much. And the legal side, totally grey. Copyright, originality, it's a mess. There's no perfect answer yet, so for me, it's best to just try to stay aware. Treat AI like an assistant, like those little helpers you find when you read fantasy comics, but you still gotta make the final call. Without human direction, this AI wouldn't really have its own purpose, because it still isn't that flexible to follow our expectations. If you rely on it too much, especially as a finishing tool, everything starts to look the same. And I think we've all seen enough of that AI look by now. So yeah, that's my take. AI isn't a replacement, it's just part of the process now. It helps understand the brief faster, see more possibilities quicker, and get to the actual work sooner. You just gotta start directing, selecting, and refining. At the end of the day, AI doesn't have taste. It doesn't have intent. And I think that's the part worth protecting. No, not don't use AI, but know exactly where it ends and where you begin. And that's because these kind of tools will keep changing. What doesn't change is that someone still has to actually give a damn about getting it right. And that part, that's still you.